What defines heroism? Heroism is defined as qualities or attributes of a hero or heroine, or courageous conduct. But what captures the essence of a hero? What symbolizes heroism in the book Empire Falls? Is it simply the actions of the characters, or the obstacles that they must overcome? In understanding this, we can better acknowledge the heroic deeds of the characters in the novel.
Hello, Father Mark. Thank you for inviting me into your rectum today.
You are very welcome.
So, how about we talk about Grace Roby? I know that you have a special relationship with everyone here in Empire Falls. So, how about we talk about her? So,
Yeah.
why don't you talk a bit about how much she sacrificed?
Well, I mean, she obviously sacrificed a lot, and you can definitely tell it in Miles and David's upbringing, especially when David's erratic behavior drove him to get into that car crash. And that had to come from when he was younger and sort of put aside, and Miles had no idea really what to do. But she definitely sacrificed a lot, especially facing her own demons every day, going over to Mrs. Whiting's and having to work for that lady.
Was there any specific things in her life that really conveyed how much of a hero she was? Because she did give up everything for her children. And have you talked to Miles at all about anything?
I mean, I have talked to Miles about it, and one very important symbol was crossing the bridge, so to say. And it was sort of the crossing the boundary, being courageous enough to keep
What bridge? The river,
the bridge across the river to go to the hacienda, Mrs. Whiting's. And it was the symbol of courage that sort of showed that Grace was facing her fear. As I said earlier, she was facing her demons and fears by going over to basically the woman whose life she sort of ruined with her relationship with her husband, even though the relationship was not always there in the first place. She sort of shattered even more, so to say. So.
Yeah. And how do you think that the symbol of Martha's Vineyard was important to her?
It was the place where she met Charlie Maine, or C.B. Whiting, who was Mrs. Whiting's husband. And this would later, if you've read the novel, this would later bring many problems into the mix, especially with the adultery.
What novel?
The Empire Falls, of course. That's the one I'm in. And they also have an HBO
Oh, that's true. They did write a book about your experiences, didn't they?
Of course they did, yes.
Oh, very nice.
HBO special as well.
Oh, nice. HBO. You guys are big shots. All right. So, is there anything else you want to tell me about her?
I mean, obviously, in my own opinion, her symbol of heroism was definitely the crossing the bridge every day. Hello, Tick. Thank you for coming to our interview. We'd like to ask you a few questions about your role. The first one being, what was the X-Acto knife to you? Why did you keep it with you?
Well, the X-Acto knife, I actually acquired it accidentally. I was just trying to protect my friend because when she cut herself using the stolen X-Acto knife that she wasn't supposed to have, I just quickly jumped at the chance to help out my friend, and I just hid it in my purse. But then after a while, I kept meaning to, at the first time that I could return it, I wanted to return it. But I never did. And after a while, I realized that I had had countless opportunities to return it, but I just didn't return it. And I started thinking about that, and I realized that what it actually gave me was a sense of security. And I liked having a knife on me. It sounds weird for me to say it because I'm not a violent person, but I did like having the security of having a knife on me. And yeah, it just kind of was almost a symbol of security to me, and a symbol of heroism, because I knew that I could, because I find a hero someone that's secure, someone that has courage, and I knew that gave me the courage to stand up for people. and the ability to.
And you showed this at the end of the novel when John Voss went ballistic
he went crazy.
Yeah, and everybody saw his sociopath and psychopathic.
Yeah, it was a really
tendencies.
traumatic experience for
And
all of us.
you froze. You didn't know, but you went up to him, and right as he was about to shoot Candace, I believe you struck him with the X-Acto knife.
He said to me, and I remember exactly what he said that day. He said, "This is what I dream about."
And
because when we did our paintings, where we were supposed to depict something that we dream about, he just drew an egg, but I asked him why, and he just said, "I don't know. That's what I wanted to paint." But anyway, that day he said, "This is what I dream about." He dreams about killing people.
So do you believe the paintings were sort of a symbol for how each person would sort of conceal or see themselves in their dreams? Because the egg was sort of a concealment for what was really underneath. So do you believe your painting of the snake was sort of like your potential to be able to strike when needed?
Yeah, because a snake is such a small creature, but it's so powerful with the venom. But I found myself, as everyone knows, I am a skinny little person, but I am powerful. I find myself to be a powerful person, and I stand up for others, and I'm not afraid to tell people when they're wrong, but sometimes I do struggle with that.
So the snake was a symbol of sort of you in a sense, that you can be calm when you need to, but when it comes down to the wire, you have that ability to
I can
help
just
people.
pounce, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it. Very informative.
Yeah,
So,
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay.
I'll see you
Thank
around Empire Falls. So, how did the steeple help you throughout your life in Empire Falls?
Well, once I finally had the courage to go over it, of course, it was too late. But then that helped me later with when I finally stood up to Miss Whiting. And I told her that I didn't like what she was doing here. And I stood up to Jimmy Minty, too. I was able to find the courage from seeing the steeple and knowing I could never climb it, but now I had at least the courage to climb the steeple, to go to new heights, step out of my comfort zone, and just do what I thought was right, even though some said it's foolish, there's no point. There is a point. Not taking action is worse than any action I could have possibly done.
But that's what you did for most of the time that the book was written.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because throughout the book, many people refer to you as really a pushover and someone that just is trying to please everyone and not trying to look out for themselves. But you did find courage in yourself, I think, and maybe that steeple was a symbol that helped you throughout your life.
Especially when all of the conflicts started really getting intense, when Mrs. Whiting really tried to put you under, because she wants to sort of build up your hope and then just crush it. You weren't going to let that happen, and that's when you found your courage, your heroic moment, so to say. And at one point, Bae, Janine's mother, your mother-in-law, said that don't you want to go out with a bang? And then you say, I just did. So, I mean, I believe that really shows your charisma and your ability to really, at the end of the book, overcome all the stipulations about being a pushover, getting knocked over, not getting back up, so you can just appease other people. And especially when you're fighting Jimmy Minty, he'd knock you down, you get back up. He'd knock you down, you get back up. Sure, I mean, he broke his nose, good for you, but he beat on you and you weren't going to let that happen, even if you just had to keep going and keep going and keep going. So,
Not how many times you get back up.